Hi, I'm Eli Glazer, founder and director of the Surveyor Solution, where we are revolutionizing the way the world looks at weight loss. Thanks for joining this week's video podcast. We're very excited to introduce our new 3-week series on clarity is the key. And tonight is part 1. So the word clarity, the definition is the quality or state of being clear. So as you've probably figured out by now, this word ranks among the highest entries in the Surveyor Dictionary. It should be indelibly etched in our mental hard drive. We can't leave home without it. So just like when traveling to Paris, we're literally tongue-tied and basically immobile without our pocket-sized English-French translation guide, or nowadays the vocabulary app on our mobile device, so too, when we enter any challenging food environment, our success is severely handicapped if we don't have a firm hold on our clarity. It's the sweatband around our wrists that keeps us from losing our grip, and across our forehead that keeps the perspiration from flooding our eyes. It's our pocket umbrella that keeps us from getting wet in a sudden storm. Because when it comes to our propensity to pardon a piece of pecan pie, there's always a forecast for rain in our brain. So think about it. Let's compare and contrast the thoughts that occupy our headspace before and after taking that first forbidden bite. We'll call it the forethought and the afterthought. The forethought is the mental gymnastics we so eloquently execute to excuse the egg eclair. Our aptitude to appease our conscience and cloud our clarity when confronted with a can of caramel corn is incredible. We lose sight of our sound judgment and let our lucidity lapse through our slippery fingers. So as we know, we have an uncanny ability to formulate any number of valid reasons to rationalize our momentary desire. It's okay, just this time. I'll be fine, come on. It's so delicious, I just have to taste one. What's the big deal anyway? Those are some examples of the forethought. But how do we feel afterwards? No sooner do we polish off that last bite than we are pained with the somber reality that it wasn't okay. I didn't need to eat that. I would have been fine without it. I can't believe I did that again. Now those two thoughts are diametrically opposed. They aren't 179 degrees apart. They are 180 degrees opposite. One is demonstrably true, and one is fundamentally false. Care to guess which is which? You got it. The afterthought is the objective reality, while the forethought is the subjective justification. So my friends, the million-dollar question is, how do we maintain the clarity of the afterthought at the time of the forethought? And thus we're introduced to the next of the 7 Surveyor keys to unlock your blocks, aptly named the Clarity List. It's a simple document that could simply spell the difference between success and failure, consequences and benefits. By creating a chart and populating these 2 columns, we give ourselves the ability to see clearly and stay in our lane when the rain begins to fog our windshield and reduce our visibility. Now, we have all had those, what I call 2 a.m. moments. We're lying in bed and staring at the ceiling, saturated with the sober certainty of how our unhealthy eating habits have affected our lives. We're done for the day trying to fool others or even ourselves. No more games, no more excuses. In our pitch black bedroom, we possess the ultimate clarity that as good as the chocolate cake tastes, it's just not worth it. Whereas when it was on our plate, our vision was locked into the confines of the 4 square inches of the fudge-covered cake. But now, we can see beyond the last bite and all the crumbs of crummy consequences that predictably trail behind. The sincerity of this insight may energize us enough to take an action toward change, but often doesn't propel us beyond the next few days, if not even the next couple of waking hours, where we find ourselves once again confounded, confused, and quickly copping to the cupcakes. What happened to our clarity of the consequences? The brilliance of that light lasted as long as the lightning bolt. And our mistake was relying on that flash of light to change us instead of merely showing direction. We have to take the steps. And that starts with capturing the clarity and housing it in our handheld flashlight, which we need to manually turn on and illuminate our path each day. Because when it comes to our relationship with food, our honesty power plant often suffers random blackouts. That's part one. Thanks for watching, and see you all next week.